welcome back to our YouTube channel. Before we get started, make sure to hit that subscribe button in the face and post notifications and like the video 3 times. 1, 2, 3.
Just saying, everything that we're saying right now is
completely true.
Oh, yeah. So your mom's house is that one?
So we're going to be telling a story time of how
I
got locked out. And it wasn't a punishment, like strict parents were like, you misbehaved, locked out for 5 minutes. She didn't do anything wrong. So where were you coming home from? Like, I think it was from like...
And she kept on arguing.
No, I just came home and
school or something.
And we just asked our parents if we could go play outside. It was me and my sister, and they said okay.
My sister's Zia, by the way.
Yeah, and when we left, the door was wide open, right?
Yes, I know, but
We played 5 minutes out, and we looked over,
It isn't true that you
and the door was shut.
Okay, I'll continue. So once the door shut, there were 2 neighbors next that were in the same house. They went to there, and by the way, these are sketchy neighbors.
We have really sketchy neighbors.
Really
So
sketchy neighbors.
the neighbor that we went to was across from our house, because the ones that are next to us we cannot trust,
Really?
like at all, because they're so scary.
Okay, so continuing with the story, Zuri went to one of her neighbors and went like, "Hey, my mom, my mom, might have like left, like they." Let me rephrase that. So like they were like, okay, like the door's just shut. Like, what's the problem? They went in and it was like the door wasn't locked, but it was like the door handle wasn't working. So. Continuing the story. Okay, so they went to their neighbors across the street because those are sketchy neighbors beside them. So they went to and say, hey, my mom like kind of locked us out. I don't know what's happening, or like the door handle isn't working. Continue.
Okay, so we tried calling her 2 times, didn't pick up because she was sleeping. So we finally texted her, and my mom said, "Who is
By the
this?"
way, they used their neighbors' phones.
Yeah. So because I didn't have my phone, because I thought this would have happened. So now I take my phone outside. So my mom texted him and said, "Hey, who is this?" And my neighbor said, "This is your like across from the street neighbor."
And by the way, so I'll continue. So what they said, hey, I have your children. So it was like she was scared because she thought like they got kidnapped, and like, okay, like, do I have to give you money for them or like what? So they're like, oh no, you just have to. I just wanted to know if you you can unlock the door or fix the handle because your kids can't even get inside. And we're like, oh my gosh, and so. Her mom goes rushing.
Rushing. We could hear her. We could literally hear her running.
And by the way, she's pregnant. So when did this happen? Like a year ago? No?
It was like a few days ago. Like a week or 2 ago.
Yeah. So by the way, she's pregnant. Like she's in her 38 weeks?
37.
37.
Wait, she might be 38 weeks today.
Alright. So, continue.
Okay, so my mom sprinted across the whole house. We literally, we saw the house shaking. It was that fast. And my mom opens, she tries opening the door and she can't open it. So she kicks the door and, she literally kicks the handle and she opens the door.
So I guess the door wasn't locked.
Yeah,
it was the door handle wasn't working.
Yeah. So, when that happened, she's like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you guys, weren't kidnapped or anything.
And so the neighbor's, really nice, was like, okay, yeah, sure, here you are. And,
it was, scary because, we were knocking on the door and she couldn't hear us.
Yeah, because she was napping.
Yeah, and our dad couldn't hear us because he was on his computer. Our brother, I think he was upstairs watching it, like a movie or something.
Maybe. So everybody basically in the house was busy and they couldn't hear her.
Yeah, and my dog, he usually barks when he hears the door open, but I'm pretty sure he was sleeping, so he didn't hear anything.
because if they ever get locked out
Ethan,
or
why are you
anything,
bad?
or they're like it's turning the door, the dog will bark, and then their
Why are
mom
you
will
bad?
go, okay, open the door or unlock it or whatever. That's how they know. But the dog was sleeping, so it was even scarier. Like nobody was home.
Yeah, it was
But
almost like
during
nobody
the-
was home, but
Yeah.
I knew there was people home.
Yeah, because like she maybe got like home from somebody and went like, hey, can I go outside? And yeah.
So after that, we asked my brother if he like messed with the door handle, and he goes no. And we can hear him whispering, saying that he locked the door.
So
It's almost like he was like talking to a ghost. He was like, I locked the door. I'm like, okay, this is kind of scary. But that's basically the story.
the story. And if this gets to maybe
No,
no, not famous likes because we're not famous. This is our first video. So if it gets to like maybe 20,
one like.
one like, okay, one like, we will do a story time of how I
That is so
fell down a hole.
You fell down a hole?
Yeah, and it was like a deep hole like that. So
Okay.
so if this gets to one like, then I'll be really excited to tell that story. All right, so bye guys. Bye. Love you all, and have a great journey. Bye.